It's a, so, I don't know.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi,
Hello.
Karen. Hello.
Hi, Michelle.
Hello, everybody. Let me just get myself.
I know Woody's going to try and be here.
So we're saved, Judy. There are people who know what they're doing.
Well, at least one person.
I just walked back into the office. The roads are nasty out there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Daryl.
All right.
All right is right.
Judy. And yeah. Okay, wow, this is everybody but Woody. And you thought he was going to try to get
He
here?
said he was. Oh, look, we have our reporter is here as well. I am.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we'll just wait another minute. See. He did say he was going to try and get in. But we do have a quorum, so maybe we should start. Daryl, are you there? Daryl?
Says
Can you hear
connecting.
us? Daryl, can you hear us?
You got to unmute yourself.
Unmute.
How's
Daryl,
that?
Are you muted?
How's that?
There we go. I heard you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we hear you. We don't see you, though.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Just
Okay,
touch the top right and you'll see the stuff come up.
okay. Well, since we do have a quorum, I guess we can begin. And did everybody get the minutes off of the website?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, are there any additions, subtractions?
Donna, can you come here for a minute?
Pardon me? Daryl, what did you say?
He was looking for Donna. His
Oh.
wife.
Okay. Okay, are there any additions, corrections? No. Okay, so thank you again, Carrie, for doing this good work. And I'm gonna say it again, make sure that you put in to be paid for this because we have it in our budget. And everybody else that does minutes gets paid and you do the best job of anybody.
I will do that. Thank you for the reminder.
Oh, there's Daryl. Hi. Okay.
Did
Oh,
you
so
get a
all-
motion? You
all
want to get
those-
a?
All those in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, raise your
Aye.
hand.
All right.
Anybody opposed? No. Okay. So they are accepted. All right, under old business, update on the Baldwin Hill property. First of all, 2 new people have joined the Washington Community Housing Trust. And they're probably people that are going to be, really energetic and wanting to do things. Sarah Guillemette, is that how you pronounce her name?
I think she pronounces the L, Guillemette.
Guillemette. And Bruce Adams have both joined, and they're enthusiastic about, doing the work. So that's really good. I did speak to Bill Fairburn today. He had just met with David Berto and Jocelyn regarding the Baldwin Hill property application for there's Woody. Application for some money they're doing a joint application with several projects in different towns, because what happens is that the smaller projects don't get funded. But I think there's like 4 or 5 different projects that are going to be included in this. And then hopefully, what Bill is hoping for and thinking that they will get is maybe $200,000 for the Baldwin Hill project. And he's saying that with $50,000 possibly for the $50,000 for the first home buyer mortgage information, money, that would leave maybe $100,000 that maybe the town or we would, you know, us through the town would have to fund. So it's looking a lot better. Also talked to him about the 30-acre parcel that's being donated to the Community Housing Trust. Supposedly that's going to happen this month, hopefully. So what I did is I asked him to find out what he thought the pre-development costs would be. That would be for engineering. It's been surveyed, so he's assuming that it does not have to be surveyed again. So that cost would not be included, but engineering costs and maybe architectural costs, thinking that there would be maybe 10 houses or 10 homes in some way that could be put on that particular property, but it hasn't been conveyed yet to the Washington Community Housing Trust. They're always talking about single family homes, and I'm just wondering how everybody feels about maybe talking to them about multifamily homes there, maybe some duplexes or fourplexes. I don't know how, you know, what everybody feels about that. Does anybody have any thoughts about that?
I think it's a great idea. There's nothing wrong with putting in some sort of a cul-de-sac with half a dozen duplexes, a couple of single family homes, and maybe an apartment building at the end with four buildings on it. Where, Judy, I'm sorry, but where, and maybe I missed it, but where is this 30 acres?
I don't know exactly.
Okay,
I said, as soon as it, you know, it's conveyed, you know, it'd be nice to be able to walk the property, if we could walk the property and
Sure.
have some input to it. And so he said, you know, in the spring for sure. So I'm not,
Judy?
I'm not exactly sure where it is.
Judy? This is Chris. I'm at the meeting. I
Oh,
thought,
you're very dark.
I know, because I'm sitting in the car outside the town hall.
Oh,
Chris, if you want, I can run downstairs and open the door for you. I'm sitting upstairs in my office.
Okay, great. Well, what I was going to say is, do you recall that Jocelyn said, and Bill was focused on single family because that's the way he can get his money, or the trust can. But Jocelyn said if you had, like, say 2 buildings, each with 5 multifamily units, townhouses or whatever, that was a viable funding thing as well. Okay.
thank
And
you.
yeah, I wouldn't mind coming inside.
Yeah, I'll run down. What I was just gonna say is that to exactly what Chris said, in order to do anything that's a rental, the funding model is much harder for the trust because there's no mortgage involved. So we either need to raise all the money or go to the state and or federal, you know, with the
Yep.
CDBG, and that's just a longer time frame.
For
Right.
I think it's a great idea, and maybe they could start on the single family homes, but leave a spot for, you know, like a plan for a multifamily, however many units that would be rentals, just knowing that that's on like the 5 to 7 year, because they take so long for whatever reason.
Right.
I think it's needed.
Right, and one of the, and then I'll head into the town hall, Michelle, but also, you know, if you design a house that's 3 to 5 bedrooms, you can do a multifamily building, you know, that say it's like 5 apartments, 1-bedroom apartments, and it's in many ways the same cost in terms of septic and well and driveway. Anyway, so it's it's a puzzle and it's just sitting down and figuring out how you fund it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there you are, Henrietta. We lost you for a minute.
I lost my
how do you-
internet.
Charlie, how do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I think if you want to achieve the numbers.
Thanks,
that we're
Michelle.
trying to- Are you there?
Go ahead.
If you want to achieve
Just
the
gonna sit
numbers,
in the stairs so in the light.
Come on.
Thank you.
If you come in my office, we'll get feedback, but if you want to just, I think it's okay. Sitting like right in the-
Okay, I'll do that. Sounds good. Thank you.
if we want to achieve the numbers that we want to achieve within a reasonable period of time, all right, I'll wait until they get settled in. But it may be that we don't have very much choice because we need to get to the numbers that we want to get to,
Yeah.
in a reasonable period of time, which means that you have to try and multiply as much as you possibly can. But then, that raises all kinds of, there's always going to be someone who says that that's unseemly. It doesn't fit in with the architecture in the area and everything else. So you're always opening up a can of worms when you go beyond the single family home.
Right.
And then I think it's right to point out that from a financial point of view, for the trust itself, it makes it more difficult.
Henrietta, did you hear the conversation?
Infrastructure to manage properties. Sorry.
No, I think I lost my internet for about 5 minutes or so before I was
We're
able to.
talking about the 30-acre property that's going to be donated to the
Okay.
trust. And I was just wanting everybody's opinion about whether or not we should encourage them to consider at least some multifamily units there.
But I
And-
think just to finish off on that,
I'm sorry.
I'm concerned that if you focus on rentals, if it's not a privately developed project, then you're going to have to set up the infrastructure to manage the property and to collect the rents and to make sure the property is kept up,
Right.
as opposed to a straight sale, where then all that becomes the owner's problem. So
Well, it could be like a condo, right?
Condo, yeah.
And then,
Well,
no,
the thing with the condos, which is
Your
kind
own
of like
condo.
what's happening with Habitat, is that then you have like a homeowners association,
yes.
which
Well,
is,
Right.
that's
then
what
you have to pay dues and that becomes a little more challenging. The housing trust does have a management company that they use to manage Dodge Farm and Riverwood and
Right.
the up on Church Street property, those developments. So that's not impossible.
So,
it's not, but a not-for-profit doesn't want to build its staff up, and the more rentals you have, the more infrastructure you build like that, the more expensive it becomes. So, I mean, I can see why people want to emphasize the single-family home and mortgage sale and everything else. That it just makes it so much cleaner and easier to manage.
Well, how much more difficult is it going to be to hit that 10% goal if you're only going to be looking at single family homes?
But
that's
you're
what
absolutely
Charlie was
right.
saying.
That's the challenge, and that's what I mentioned earlier on. It's if you want to get to your numbers, you're going to have to get beyond the single family home number or issue.
So, it's certainly very early in this project, but how would everybody feel about me, writing a letter just to encourage them to consider multifamily in some way, maybe in addition to several single family homes? How would you feel about me writing that from the Housing Commission? Is there anybody that's opposed to me doing that?
No, I would support it.
Okay.
I support it.
I think it's a great idea. I think we just need to look at, how this 30-acre parcel perks. Because 30 acres of land, if a quarter of it's wet and they say you can only put 25 bedrooms on that 30 acres, you're going to be sort of stuck in,
Yes.
10, 2-bedroom buildings or whatever the number works out. I think it's all going to boil down to the perk testing and,
So, Bill, said maybe 10 homes could, or 10 units of some sort, could be built there. And, so they came up with $350,000 for basically pre-development costs, based on what has cost for, other developments that they've done. Just want to, we need to consider that when we ask for money from the town budget. Okay, so I guess we should vote on the fact that I will write a letter. I will actually share it with you before I send it. How's that? And can somebody make a motion that happen?
I make a motion that Judy writes a letter to the Housing Trust.
Okay, second?
Second,
Okay. All in favor, raise your hand.
I,
Thank you. Does anybody else want to talk anything more about that particular issue? All right.
Just something to think about, if you drive down Arrow Point on the lake, depending on how you want to develop this, let's call it maybe a cul-de-sac. Arrow Point's got one central water system for the entire development down there. So these are all things that, depending on how you guys want to move forward, that if you put in one common water system, to try to save budget numbers that, feeds 8 homes, 9 homes, it might be some way to cut out having 9 different wells, 10 different wells drilled on any, every piece of property.
Good point. Thank you. Okay, Grady, the Habitat for Humanity, they were present at the Martin Luther King Day yesterday at the Judy Black Park. And they were there for, for publicity for what they're doing, and also to try and get people to volunteer. So they have the 4 homes that are occupied, and they have 2 more that are being built, and they do not have anybody that has been approved yet for those particular homes. So that's where we are with that. Michelle, do you have any more to add for the Habitat for Humanity?
Only that they have that program about helping elders stay in their home.
Right.
And that is one of the goals of our affordable housing plan. So that we haven't really touched on or looked at because we've been so focused on trying to get new units. But that might be a great resource. And I also told her, because I know that's expensive, maybe if they've got a good model for a program, we could maybe partner with them and help either find I said money, she said what they really need is volunteers. They need people to come and do the work. And this is putting in grab bars or ramps or whatever kind of aging in place modifications homes might need for seniors to be able to stay in their home.
And she said what they do is they go into the home and evaluate. And I guess they have more flexibility in income qualifications for that particular program. So that's good to know.
Judy, does Habitat actually buy the land that they build their homes
Well,
on?
the particular land that our Habitat has was donated to them.
Okay, but it's donated directly to Habitat. It doesn't go through the trust, through the Washington Trust.
No.
Okay,
It's separate from the trust.
all right.
Say, if I understood what Michelle was talking about, there's also an outfit called Rebuilding Together. Any of you familiar with that?
No.
They
No.
rehab needy housing owners. And they're centered in New Milford, but I think they consider Litchfield County their territory.
Would be good to look into that. Thank you for that. That's good information. This is later on the agenda, but I can bring up, I'm going to the senior center on the 24th, and anybody else that wants to join me is totally welcome to talk about housing. It's a lunch and learn. The lunch is provided and people sign up to come. I guess so far there are 6 people that have signed up, so that's good. And I, I think that this particular program might be something that they might not know about, and they might know people that need something like this. So I'm going to bring some brochures about that particular program with me. Anything else about Habitat Humanity? Okay, we were going to look into more about the Moore property, and Michelle did contact Jim Britton, but you didn't find out too much information.
No, but it was interesting because that property did come up at the zoning hearing last Monday, and Liddy Adams shared Wayne Heilman, because they were both on the Housing Commission when that property was acquired. And they seemed to, they reminded everybody that it was acquired with conservation money, and that they didn't think there was much developable land there. But I did ask Jim to ask the town attorney, if there's any way we can either, I don't know, reverse, undo, if there's any option with that land. And I haven't heard back yet, so I'll follow up with him.
Where is it, Michelle?
It's on 202, what's the address? I have the,
Oh, it's on-
202,
202? Okay.
202 on Flirtation.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I forget the address, but I read through the minutes of the town meeting, and that's the only record we have, and nowhere in there does it talk about housing.
What's the background information on that, on the Moore property? Like, why did that come up in the zoning commission?
Somebody brought it up because they were talking about town-owned land. They were talking about affordable housing and the need for it. And I forget, actually, it was on the other side of the room.
Valerie brought it up as maybe an idea of a place we could build. I don't think she realized that it was bought with the, I don't want conservation money and or, open space money. So.
Right.
Judy, if I may,
Daryl, who did you say brought it up?
Valerie Anderson brought it up.
Oh, Valerie.
I
Okay.
thought somebody else did. Okay.
okay, but Judy, may I just add something?
Yes.
Wayne was emphatic that it was in conservation in perpetuity. I spoke to him afterwards, and he realized that he had overstated the case. As Daryl said, it was purchased with money from the Conservation Commission, and that was readily available money. The town paid $500,000, and the reason why they were willing to pay that much was that the hope was to, over time, develop it as affordable housing. And what Mark Lyon and David Miles, through Mark Lyon, said was that by restoring money to the Conservation Commission and replacing it with other town funds, then you could develop it. Anyway, it's 31 acres, and it was shown to be able to be subdivided into 9 individual building lots. And Ray Underwood looked at it in terms of septic. You have town water in New Preston. So it's, be nice to get it wrestled to the ground in terms of it being viable and available to the town.
Yes. I think it'd be good to get a legal opinion.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else on that? All right, Bill and I did go to the Finance Commission. Talking about the need for affordable housing and supporting what the Housing Trust is doing. And it was very interesting because it didn't seem like the Finance Commission was very much aware of what we're doing or what the housing plan that was developed by the commission prior to when I even joined, or any of us joined actually. I mean, it was, so we have a goal to go back and talk some more to them. But it was kind of astonishing to me that they didn't really know as much as I thought they should know about what was going on. Okay, so yeah, I'm doing a lunch and learn about housing in Washington on the 24th at the Senior Center at noon. And if you want to join, just call the Senior Center and sign up. There's lunch provided. And we'll have, flyers and, it's just another way of meeting people and not only telling them what we're all about, but finding out what their needs are. And being able to meet, more needs in our town. So if there's anything that you want me to particularly emphasize when I go, let me know, or show up and help us out. Anything on that? Okay. Okay, so there was the zoning commission hearing on the multifamily housing regulations that the subcommittee had developed and the zoning commission had looked at and the COG had looked at, and then so then the next step was the hearing. And I think most of you were there, right? All there, I think. So
I was not.
You were not, okay.
I wasn't there.
I was not.
So it was mostly Wayne Heilman's letter, I think, that stood out more than anything. And you all got a copy of that. Did you get it in your email?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So his, some of his, I mean, his issues are that the planning commission thinks that the multifamily housing should be centered around the town centers, which would be good if that's possible. And I think that the thoughts of the committee were that let's make it fair and make it, just available everywhere and, see how it all works out. So were you guys able to read Wayne's responses?
Yes.
It was a lot. I mean, a lot of the things he agreed with. He did think, and I think Daryl, I think you spoke also the fact of the having to have underground power. It could be difficult for small projects and make it too cost prohibitive.
Well, I think what has to happen is I think the planning commission and the zoning commission, they have to realize that the utility company is going to do what they want. They have the convenience. You can ask and you can beg and everything. I've got projects right now. The power company has no parts in stock. They have no material in stock. So projects that we started a year and a half ago that were supposed to be totally underground, or they're putting in telephone poles right now because they don't have the equipment to do underground services. So for the zoning commission to put stipulations in the books saying they're going to mandate what the utility companies are going to do, well, that's not going to hold any weight at all.
Work.
So.
That's interesting.
Mm.
And I think that they thought that some of the standards were a little bit too strong for people that were gonna be doing some small project on their own piece of property. So that was, I think that was mostly the gist of his issues.
But I mean, Daryl, if we were, I mean, is it that prohibitively expensive? I mean, I know that when we bought this place here, your crews came in and dug the line down for us and buried the line into the house.
Yeah.
And we paid for that, you know, the utility didn't. But is it that, I don't remember it being for this one house that expensive, but
No, it's not. It's just, the problem is that right now, which is still the same idea, but if you're building a large scale cul-de-sac or something like that, the power company doesn't have any parts in stock. I mean, if you decided to build a house right now, I could come in there tomorrow with my machine. I could dig you a 300-foot ditch and get everything prepped. And the power company is going to come in and say, 2 years from now, we might be able to get you power, or we can set 2 telephone poles and get you power in 2 weeks. That's where we are. Power company right now, the guidelines are if you're building a new facility, whether it be commercial, residential, whatever, expect to wait anywhere between 18 and 26 months for your power. They don't have transformers in stock. And things that happened 2 weeks ago with the flooding or Saturday night with the power loss in the center of town in New Preston doesn't help because they've got their doomsday stockpile, but they're not going to use it on somebody's brand new house.
Yeah.
right.
Wow. That's interesting information. Yeah. So why don't they have the equipment?
Supply chain, it started back in COVID and it hasn't rectified itself yet.
Okay.
So we don't make anything in this country, and we're not going to talk politics at this meeting, but you know, we buy all our transformers and stuff from overseas, and they've decided to stop selling them to us, so we're kind of screwed.
Wow. That's very interesting. Very.
Judy, it's Woody.
Yeah, hi, Woody.
That requirement of burying the power lines underground for ancillary apartments, and there was one other requirement that was kind of shaky, as I remember in our last few meetings, that just being asking too much.
Yeah.
Or expecting too much. So I wasn't sorry, or I wasn't surprised to see them go in the Planning Commission's response.
Mm-hmm.
I initially felt that we were really getting scolded, but when I read the final report, I felt that pretty much all of what the committee had worked on for so long was still in there.
Yeah.
And I was pleased.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, that's true.
Well, what happens now, Judy? I mean, we've had the hearing,
Well,
we've
it's
had
not-
letters.
It's not completed though.
Yeah.
They voted that they're going to continue the hearing at their next meeting, which is on the 22nd.
Okay,
So it's not finished.
but how does it get finished? Does the committee just vote on it and then whatever their vote is
As I understand it, the zoning commission votes on it and that's it.
that's it? It doesn't have to go to the selectmen. It doesn't have to go for a vote
No,
of the town or anything. Okay, that's interesting.
that's what I understand.
So basically, the zoning commission can approve multifamily housing as a new category of housing without anything being on
You're
their vote.
frozen. You froze.
That's what
there.
basically you just said.
Say it again.
Excuse me?
Say it again. Because
In other words, I mean, voting on multifamily housing is, at least in my mind, a pretty big deal,
yes.
right? When it comes to zoning in a place like Washington, Connecticut. And what we're saying is that they can make that kind of a change to the zoning regulations simply by a vote within that committee and nothing beyond that.
Well, they had to have the hearing. They had to have it go to the COG. It had to go, I think did it go to the selectmen? I don't know. It had to go to the COG, I know that. And it
Had to go to
eventually
planning.
Pardon me? Oh,
It
and
had to
the,
go.
and the plan,
planning.
planning, the COG, and then the hearing.
What is the COG?
What did we,
Council of Governments.
Council of Governments,
Okay,
Judy, if I may add one thing.
yes.
Historically, Janet, as the land use coordinator and the clerk for planning and zoning, everything that she did over the years really encouraged, insisted upon community participation. So the number of meetings that were held in updating the POCD in 2003, or the number of meetings that you guys had as a committee, it's all there. The trouble is that people don't follow it, you know?
Right.
And then when you go to approve the POCD, it is, I mean, it's the Planning Commission, as an example, just presents that. It's not a vote at that point. But the Planning Commission and Zoning Commission have always tried to be open and invite people. And I guess the last thing you could say is that if you don't like what the Zoning Commission does, we have an election in a year.
Right.
So,
Well, and, you know, when they said that it was gonna be a hybrid meeting with, you know, with Zoom, I'm thinking, how are they gonna do that in the big, you know, the big auditorium? Well, they didn't expect to have to use the big auditorium. They didn't have to use the big auditorium. And there was plenty of room in that small room for the small number of people that showed up, unfortunately.
right.
Yeah.
But
So,
it was pretty good attendance. I mean, I think there was a total of about 40 or 50 people, you know, between, well, but in the
oh,
room
well,
and,
oh, yeah, and then online, yeah.
I mean, you would like to have a lot more, I agree, but
I
Um,
was surprised for something like that there weren't more people that, you know. And it certainly, the information was out there that it was happening.
well, that's why we have so many volunteers.
Okay, any more on that? All right, so for our budget, Michelle, you were gonna maybe screen share some information. We hardly spent any money this year. We spent like, I don't know, less than $60 on printing or something.
So far, I mean, we're only halfway through the year. It goes through June 30th, so,
Yeah,
but correct. This was this year's budget, and we've spent $57.50 on printing brochures for the Harvest Festival, I guess that was. I think these were the Housing Trust brochures, but yeah, so that's all we've spent so far.
but Carrie's gonna put in for under the, what is her,
Board
Oh, board and
secretary
secretary fees.
fees. Let me,
okay?
I can enlarge this a little.
But
Everybody can see this.
she's entitled to 4 hours for every meeting, which is what all the other clerks are getting.
Mhm. Yep.
So that's our, I don't know, what do you call that, our program budget?
Operating.
Operating budget.
Yep.
Okay, so we had put in $2,000 for membership and education. We haven't needed that or haven't used that. Printing, we put in for 3,000. I think, you know, we'll probably be doing some more printing to make sure people know what's going on. Did you want to show, Michelle, what were you doing? At any rate, our budget's been pretty much the same every year, and we haven't really spent anything right now. So I don't know if there's any comments about that, but, as far as the, do you have the other part of our money that we have?
The housing fund, you want to see that?
Yeah, do you have that?
Yep, I can share that. Okay, hold on, give me a second. I have it all preloaded to share. Okay. All right, can everyone see this?
Could be a little bit bigger.
Yep, let me try to figure that out here.
If you've got an iPad, you can expand it with your fingers.
It's a PDF and my Zoom.
That's
bigger.
good.
That's
Okay.
bigger.
Bigger.
Yep, okay, good. So this, what we're looking at here, sorry, because I'm running the Zoom, I can't tell exactly what you're seeing, but this is the balance sheet as of January 8th, which was like last week. And it shows what's in the housing fund. I just wanted to, there are just two clarifying things that I want to explain. So $100,000 was earmarked for down payment assistance, the down payment assistance program, and we have 6 loans out. So this $60,000 is considered an asset, but it is not actually in the account to spend. So you need to back out that 60, but we would also need to back out the 40 that is earmarked for 4 other people. So when that was transferred over, it was earmarked for that program. So when you look here at the 292, if you take out the 40 that's earmarked, it's 252,885 that's available to be spent on all of the other things we're allowed to spend it on, like development costs, etc.
So I would like to put in a substantial request for that. Because that's where we would take the money out for the development costs for the 30 acres. Correct?
Yes, yes. So it would be part of the request of the selectmen, or you know, and then
Yes.
the Board of Finance, whatever. And then they transfer it from the general fund into this housing fund, which carries over year after year.
Yeah.
And,
So the
and the development costs, you know, when David Berger shared that with us, it included some things we may or may not need, but he said it would be $350,000. And I would go ahead and ask for that because there are several projects in the pipeline.
Okay, any comments about that?
I guess a question I would have is, if we took $350,000 and had some site development once we received the property, do we have the finances to build 10 houses? And where would that money come from? The reason I'm asking is I've got a Habitat board meeting tomorrow afternoon. I mean, would the Housing Commission think about letting Habitat build 6 of those homes as affordable, or whatever Habitat does to help offset the cost from the Housing Trust, the Housing Commission?
Would they remain as part of the affordable housing stock for Washington, or like, how does that work in terms of Habitat?
Great question. I don't know the particulars on that. I would imagine if they invested the money on helping site development plus put in, let's just use 10 as a round number. If we could put 10 houses there, if they were to sign on and put in 5, maybe they stay as the Habitat affordable, and then we offset that 5 duplexes that we do whatever we want with.
So I possible, but at the moment, the financing structures are different. And Housatonic Habitat did go to the state and got them to approve the CHAFA guidelines that they're using so that the habitat houses would count as affordable for us, which is great. But their model lets those float into market rate at the end of their, I think it's the 15-year term where the person is paying off the assistance that Habitat puts in, which is not the model of the housing trust. They prefer to keep things deed restricted for the minimum, I think 830G is like 40 years, or in perpetuity. They've done quite a few in perpetuity properties. So they have different models. But to answer your first question, Daryl, if all of the pre-design work is done, then the whole project would be eligible for grant applications, well, CDBG or some of the other through the Department of Housing, and they like doing bigger projects.
Right.
Want to get 10 to 12 units all at once. So it's not unheard of to apply for $3 million to just build the whole thing out. Doesn't mean it comes quickly or you're guaranteed, but we need to develop the project before we can even apply.
So, all right, so keep the budget, what we have requested for our other line items the same, and request $350,000 for the housing fund. I can't see what anybody feels about that, because you're little now. Okay.
I agree. I mean, I would ask for more if there was any chance of getting it. But if you think 350 is the reasonable ask and that there's a reasonable chance of getting it, then I'm for it.
I don't know how reasonable the chance of getting it is, but I think it's reasonable to ask for it. That's my opinion. I mean, we asked for 50,000 last year and we got 25, but we haven't used it either. So I think we should go for it.
But this would be earmarked towards that 30 acre property is what you're saying?
Well, not well, it would be something that we could use for that, yes.
But I wouldn't earmark it, because if that project falls through but something else comes up, the more flexibility, the better. So I would just say to go to the housing fund, which, by the way, I would advise at some point later that we revisit that housing fund ordinance, because it does not allow the commission to purchase land with a building on it. It only allows for the purchase of land.
So we could use the consultant fee that's in our budget to consult with the lawyer about that, the ordinance, and maybe also about the Moore property. Could we do that?
We could. I don't think we need to. We've already updated that ordinance once. We just have to put the language in there. And the town has a legal fee, like a legal fee line item, and has not charged they allow the commissions to use that line item within reason. So certainly we could offer to pay for it, but I don't think we would need to.
Okay.
Just because we have a town attorney on a retainer or whatever, and any question that we have about an ordinance or like the Moore property goes to them. I asked Jim in December, and I think with the holidays it just didn't happen. So I'll ask again.
So all right. So who is the attorney that we would be? It's not Mike Ziska.
No, he's our land use attorney. It is.
Randy DeBella.
Thank you. I have his email. Thank you, Randy DeBella, who does the town stuff.
Okay. Okay, so I want to ask if somebody could make a motion that that we continue asking during the operating budget to be the same as we've been asking for in the last few years. And that for the housing fund, we asked for $350,000. Can somebody
So-
make a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Okay, Charles. And second?
Second,
Okay, and if you're in favor of it, raise your hand. Okay, so that's unanimous. So what I have to do is I have to write a budget and a rationale and give it to the selectmen. And then it goes to well, if they decide that they want to support it, we'll go to the finance committee, and hopefully it will be in the budget in June, which the town votes on. Any other questions about the budget?
Hey, Judy,
Yes.
I just wanted to mention or bring up the possibility. I think I had spoken with you. I think you all know that I had the intern working with me, Oscar Cespedes, who was a student. He was getting credit for working in town. He's a poli-sci major, and he's a second semester senior. And he set up a Facebook page for the commission and the well, it's really the trust. It's set up as the trust, but in partnership with the commission to get the word out about affordable housing. And if he can't get any more credit, which I think he feels that he probably can't, I wanted to see how the commission felt about paying him for a couple hours a month to create Facebook posts and to monitor that. If you go to the trust, if you go to the Facebook page right now, he has a nice post with a link to the housing plan, and he put up an announcement about the hearing for people to come. So that's kind of the intent, is to get the word out, just keep people aware of what's happening with affordable housing and helping represent the commission and the trust together. So there's money in the budget. I talked to Linda Gomez. I mean, that would be kind of like a consultant, or it could go under the secretary for this year since we're behind, not every month was applied for. So just wanted to see if the commission was open to that. It's not a given yet. I don't really know, but.
How much do you think that would be, Michelle?
I don't know, because I think he would probably start with whatever they pay clerks, the hourly, and he would just sort of turn in an invoice, like a 1099, an hourly.
Okay.
And in my mind, I was thinking a couple hours a month to just create a few posts, because that's just not my thing.
How does everybody feel about that? I mean, I think it's a good idea.
good idea.
And he's a young person to,
Yeah.
be doing this, and he knows technology a little bit better than we do, or a lot better than I do.
Dude, if you go to the housing, just first of all, hopefully, if any of you are on Facebook, hopefully you have followed the trust page and liked it. He did a little report for me, actually. He was going to come to the housing meeting last week before the weather had us canceled. Shoot,
And he was at the hearing, for anybody that was not at the hearing.
Yes.
As a young person who lives in town and can't afford to, live
No,
here with his parents.
excited to come and do that, and was glad, because his classes for Quinnipiac hadn't started yet, so he was able to be here in person to come to that hearing.
What about a website for, does the Housing Trust have a website?
I do.
Is he working on that as well?
No, that's under Anne Marie Ovid is their admin person, and she's got a handle on that. I mean, when we went to the training that Jocelyn did through the county or the Center for Housing Opportunity, and they did sort of a playbook for nonprofits, the very first thing they said you should do is make sure you can accept payments online. And I've talked to her a couple of times about getting that set up, and she was going to talk to the accountant. So it kind of moved slowly, but their website is very nice. It was done recently, and you can apply to get on their wait list through the website, and it talks about each of the the properties and what's there, and has the address. So if you want to write a check, so I think it's perfectly adequate website.
Okay.
And we have the link to it on the Facebook page, so we're driving people back to it.
Okay. So how does everybody feel about paying Oscar 2 to 3 hours a month to keep Facebook current? Any thoughts?
Makes sense to me.
I think it's a good idea.
How about the rest of you?
Sure.
How you? Woody?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Great. So I don't know if you want to, I don't know that for sure will happen. I think there's room in the budget for that.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know that, it's hard to recommend adjusting next year's budget.
Yeah. Are you gonna talk to him about that then?
I am actually, because I thought he was going to be coming in at some point.
Okay, so
I need to touch base with him and see when he's next planning to come in. But I did float the idea to him, and he was very excited about that and felt
Okay.
like that was something he could even work on remotely. So
okay, so when you find out, just let me know, and I guess, we'll have him write up an invoice to give to Linda Gomez.
okay, great.
Okay.
I think it'll be great if I can get him here.
Good. Okay, any other things that our members want to bring up? Woody?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. I did miss the opening here. I had a hard time getting on, but I thought Jocelyn was going to be our guest this time.
Well, I had she was gonna come last week. And I don't know, I felt like we had enough that,
Sure.
so I said, skip it. Would you like me to invite her to our next meeting?
Well, she's always a great addition. Maybe
She knows
we
so
should
much.
calculate, though, if we invite her for a major reason, that we'd like her insight and advice for. But I was
Well,
just
maybe it's
expecting to see her and didn't.
Maybe
The other thing I wondered about, I gave you two names of people who might be alternates, subs.
And did I do anything about that? No.
Oh, okay.
Give me the names again.
They're in New Preston, and I'm in South Carolina. I'm sorry. I'll look them up and
Oh,
email you.
the names are in New Preston. They're not in New Preston, but their names are. Is that right? I can't
Well,
hear
they're
you.
not in the top of my brain, I'm afraid, at the moment.
Right.
But I can look them up online, but I don't want to lose the picture I have of you.
Okay. Okay. All right, well,
One works at the GW Tavern. The other was a man that I met at St. John's Episcopal Church
I know.
when I preached there about affordable housing.
Okay, so send me their names again,
I will do that.
and I definitely will contact them. I promise.
Thank you.
Bye, Woody.
Anything else that any members want to bring up? Chris, do you want to bring up anything? I can't imagine you wouldn't. No?
No,
Okay. So can I have a motion to adjourn? Can somebody make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Bye.
Stay safe. Have fun in South Carolina, Woody. I'm jealous.
Thank you.
How was the
Bye-bye.
Caribbean, by the way?
Pardon?
How was the Caribbean?
Wonderful.
Oh, good.
81 in the day and 79 at night.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
glad
Well,
back.
No,
Bye, Woody.
Bye.
Well,